Hello, assalamu alaikum, good morning, khush amdeed. Ji ayanu, goeiemorgen, ishbata.
Pagheragale, ni hao, chunishumme, washmale, ohio, gonzaimes, guten morgen, hola, boyor, privyet, kaifa hal, hale shuma chatore, ahlan wasalan, marhaba, buna, mucho, gracias, swabia, balli karaya, and thank you very much everybody for tuning into PTV World. You're definitely watching World this morning alongside the very fantastic, the very superb, the very amazing, the very talented, the very hardworking Miss Shiza Hashmi, and I happen to be Shahzad Ehsan Khan. And before I say anything, I think today I'm just going to ask Shiza, hi, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking. And again, thank you for all the kind words. But I have a question before we do move on. I know every other day your energy sort of exceeds yesterday as well. And I'm like, how is this humanly possible? This guy operates on something that is not in my diet, first of all. But you tell me, mashallah, you're doing great today. What's different?
You have to say something?
We both have to say the same thing. Why don't you go ahead?
All right, so I think I'll go ahead as well. So ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm going to start with my own personal experience, and that is that, alhamdulillah, I've been living in Islamabad for more than 30 years now, more than 3 decades, even though I'm not that old. But now, all of a sudden, in I think previous 2 years, we have seen that, that Islamabad is even getting water scarce. And this is something which is really important. And, the SDGs talk about that as well. Everybody needs to be concerned about it. For a country where the economy is partially now dependent on agriculture as well. I think that for an economy to be dependent on agriculture, I think we are at risk of getting water scarce once again. Because, within agriculture, ladies and gentlemen, there are newer practices which are being included, which really do not have to consume a lot of water. But with livestock agriculture over in Pakistan, due to lesser technological interventions or lesser interest in moving towards better solutions, I think that we will be getting water scarce, and God forbid there will be a lot of difficulty for a lot of people. So for a layman, how can we preserve water? How can we kind of make sure that we make the best use of the water? So we need to talk about that. And to talk about that, Shiza, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by somebody who, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, happens to be working with the International Water Management Institute, which is wonderful. And he will be here to talk about how me, Shiza, everybody out there can actually preserve water as well. Ladies and gentlemen, he's the principal researcher for climate and water governance. He's a company representative of IWMI. He is Dr. Mohsin Hafeez. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Subha bakhair. Good morning. How are you?
Assalamu alaikum ji. Thank you very much for inviting me.
Sir, thank you very much for joining us.
International Water Management Institute is an international research organization working in Pakistan since 1986.
Wow.
And our vision is basically water secure world. So we are working around in 30 countries around the globe. And we are directly helping not only for the water for the agriculture, but water for the urban security and how to deal with the climate shocks and all sort of things there. So in Pakistan, where we are doing it, we are, as you have rightly pointed out, that the Pakistan is considered water scarce, but we have plenty of water. The biggest problem we are having there is a poor water governance, and we don't have the precise information about the water availability, how much water available, how much is the water demand there, and that kind of mismanagement of water is one of the fundamental things there.
Yes, this is our piece of conversation, sir, and very sorry. But sir, for an international institute which actually, their principles are based on research and have been existing within Pakistan since 1986, how come you still do not know where the water lies and in which areas do you need to work?
No, we know that one, that how much is information.
But the other people who are actually on those seats of governance.
Yes, seat of the governance. So that's what I'm talking about. Overall, we need to, because we consider water, we consider 3 sources: either rainwater, or then the groundwater, and then the surface water. And as the dynamics are changing, then we need to know that one, how much is surface water availability, how much is the groundwater, how much is the rainfall, and how once we know that one, and we have the information about the water availability, excellent information on surface water, but for groundwater we don't have that kind of information available. For the rainwater we have the information available, but how that water is managed, that's one of the biggest problem. And that's where the International Water Management Institute is working with the federal government, Ministry of Water Sources, all the provincial government to provide them some solution for climate resilient development.
But that is brilliant, and definitely we are looking forward to all of the solutions that you guys will come to, because this is a collaborative effort between your institution and Pakistan's government and semi-government institutions as well. Now the thing is, when we talk about international organizations or institutions operating in different, especially developing countries, You said you're here since 80s, and then your website had the stats of Pakistan, first of all, having enough water, then at a warning stage, and then being water scarce. So if you're operating since the 80s and you are brilliant at your research and you are collaborating with the authorities as well, when you did get the warning, what did you do?
I think that we need to look around the broader perspective. Okay, Pakistan was water abundant at the time of partition. Then we have a rapid population growth. We have urbanization. We are moving from the lower middle income country to the development. So this pattern of the water consumption is changing, and that helps. That create a lot of problem in terms of the water availability. We didn't build so many dams. And if we talk about the water storage, we have it only 30 days of storage. If we compare to that, the Australia, which is around 600 days, to US around more than 600 days, and then even in India, it's more than 350 days.
Oh, wow.
And where we are sending, what that means, just in a very simple way. If we have that one, we have the 3 months of the monsoon rainfall pattern, where monsoon season, and where we are getting around 84% of water. And the remaining months, we have it only 16% of the water in 9 months. But we are only able to store the water for 30 days. What will happen if we don't have the reservoirs? And we will not be able to sustain it. But reservoir is not only a solution. We need to think about, we only, unfortunately, in the last 20 years, 30 years, we were not able to control the population. We were not able to control improving the water conservation, not educating the ordinary person. When I am doing a wuzu or ablution, what I need to do it. When I am using basically cooking cleaning the pots at the kitchen, what I need to do it. When I am using it basically car washing, instead of having the hose and then connecting it, what I can do it, why don't I use a one bucket? And other important thing is how we recycle of water.
That's important, sir, and we would definitely want to move on towards the solutions and how we can really improve the situation these days as well. But sir, to get to the crux of the problem, because you said that it's poor governance, and you said that IWMI is actually working with the federal government as well and the provincial government. So it feels like as if that that they really were very unaware of the facts from back in 1990s and 2000. Oh yaar, kidhar se aa gaye ho, kaun sa pani ka masla, koi masla hi nahi hai. So I know that we really cannot blame a person like you whose sole job is to kind of do the research and let them know that, hey, you know what, these are the figures. You want to do it, your choice. You don't want to do it, your choice.
It's a state's responsibility eventually.
It's a state's responsibility, and we know. But sir, with the current government, alhamdulillah, I think PTI, they're very vigilant on each and everything, in each and every minute detail, which might have an impact on the nation itself. So how do you think that things are changing, in this current regime of Mr. Imran Khan as well? And do you think that, God forbid, if you're not going to talk about solutions as of now, God forbid in 2025 or 2030, or talking about SDGs as well, we might fail miserably?
Okay, thank you. That's a very important question. First thing is, the last time was mega infrastructure was built in 1970s. Now this government has built they are going to build 2 larger dams, and that will increase our capacity from 30 days to 45 days. Still not 400 days, but that's a big movement. Other thing is, where this government is quite keen on improving on the climate to deal with the climate shocks. And then the government is plantation and all the things are there, and the government is also going for some localized solution. Just to give you the emphasis on that one, in Islamabad, we have it around 1500 millimeters of rainfall. In July, we had it, there was a flash flooding in the 11th sector. But the problem was there, we have it, we need to think about localized rainwater harvesting, and we need to go for introducing the nature-based solution. Wherever, so how we could inject the water to the groundwater and making sure that the quality of water is not compromised, and that localized harvesting need to be done, because the large infrastructure has been built, our natural pathways has been closed, and that's creating a lot of problems.
Exactly.
Now with the government and especially with the partnership of Pakistan Council of Research in Water Sources, we have done the comprehensive study for Islamabad, where the government is putting their effort for installing around 100 wells for the artificial recharge in Islamabad, and we'll be doing it something in Islamabad, also demonstration of nature-based solution.
I think that's wonderful. But sir, there's one more concern as well, and a lot of people have been complaining about it, and that is that unfortunately, because we do have a lot of people. Obviously, we do not have to ask the government. We can go as deep as we want, get the water out. But some people do say, and I've heard about these complaints as well, that the sewerage water at times accidentally do mix up with the bore water as well. So how do you think that you can actually go underneath and then build a newer structure where it's going to be safer for people, or in days to come as well? Do you think that's going to happen? Because the depth people are actually digging into, kind of, there are a lot of pipes. We might not have planned so many things as well. The sewerage line is mixed with the drinking water, and these problems are coming up day after another one as well. So do you think that there will be a solution to such problems?
And my question is sort of not similar but in line with that, so I'll just throw them together.
Yeah.
Do you think that the common man should have the authority to start the fracking, or what we call it, hydraulic fracturing? Because in all even the governed societies or housing societies, and even the federal capital, families are supposed to, or they're even allowed to, frack outside their home if they need the water.
Yeah.
Shouldn't it be a governmental thing?
Yeah, sure. That's why I was emphasizing on that one. We need to have the comprehensive information about the groundwater. How much is the groundwater available, and then you may have the water right, you may have the land right, but water right is not there. We need to untangle that one, and that's where the important thing is. We need to know how much water is available, and then the government will be the only agency who will allow. We have already discussing with the CDA and other working around on that one, as well as the Pakistan Council of Research in Water Sources. What could be biggest problem in Pakistan is we have so many policies, but for implementation we don't have the mechanism. For implementation you need to have the data availability, and that's where the crux coming. You mentioned about the sewerage water connection there. I think we need to think about, because our problems are so complex. So we need to, let's say when we are developing a new housing society, can we develop a proper mechanism on that one? How we will put the sewerage lines and how we are going to do that one. There are ways we need to recharge the reuse of the water into the way, so that we could use it for some purpose. We need to categorize the water. Do we need to use the potable water for flushing? It's a sin. That's wrong. So we need to think about that one, how we could do it for the localizing.
Is it portable, the ones that we get in our toilets?
Yeah.
Okay.
We are getting, because at the house level, we are not getting we are getting the one amount of water.
Okay. The same
amount of water. So we need to categorize that kind of water classification.
And even that, half of the houses in Islamabad do not get that. That we used to call it supply ka pani, or supply water as well. And then most of the people do not get it. And I think there's another problem with that, and that is that, God forbid, if things continue to go on like this, there is a water mafia in Karachi, where certainly, people who live in DHA actually have to spend 50 to 60,000 rupees to get a tanker every day to come and fill up their tanks as well. So that is a problem. I'm sorry, sir, I'm cutting you short over here, and I want you to complete as well. But in addition to that, so that we can quickly move on towards the solutions. Now imagine that even if we are cooking rice at home, we actually have to put in 2 or 3 glasses of water. Imagine bunji. Bunji is actually, or I think munji or bunji is when you actually go and sow the rice as well. And then it uses a lot of water, in harvesting rice as well. Imagine that, Pakistan is obviously a developing country, and now a lot of people want to move on to urban areas as well. A lot of construction is being done. A lot of water once again is being consumed. So any area and every area in terms of development is using or consuming a lot of water. We have the biggest ever and one of the most amazing canal system over here in Pakistan, which obviously, in the previous governments and this government, a lot of Balsafai used to take place as well. But now I think that we really need to move on to smarter solutions, or how the world is doing so as well, bringing in the sprinklers, making sure that, per acre there will be less water consumed. Do you think that now is the time to kind of think about it and take an action, or do you think we are already very late?
No, I think the time is right. Just to first comment on that one, for the rice, typically in Pakistan, for growing a 1 kg of rice, which we are consuming at home, we are using 5,000 to 6,000 liters of water. Typically around the globe, which is around 500 to 600 liters, we are using it 5,000 to 6,000 liters to produce 1 kg of rice.
Is it the land that requires it, or is it our
stupidity? It's our practices, the way which we are doing it. The thing is, what IWMI is doing it, along with the Pakistan Council of Research in Water Sources, we are organizing next week Pakistan Water Week, and in that Water Week we will be bringing a lot of international experts who have already worked in Pakistan. They are bringing the best global practices and interacting with the government stakeholders, interacting with the private stakeholders, interacting with the community, and that sharing that kind of scientific knowledge. What's the pathway? How we could develop the sustainable solution to improve the water security situation in Pakistan.
And this conference will be taking place on the 6th and 7th of December 2021. Obviously, Dr. Arif Alvi is actually going to be there in the inaugural session as well. Please let us know about that. And Smart Solutions, sir, please go ahead.
Okay. I think that the conference has two segments. One is 6 and 7, where we have the President Arif Alvi will be there as a chief guest, and then we will be having we are bringing all the development partners, all the stakeholders, all the government agencies to have a series of discussion in parallel, talking about water management for urban, talking about floods and drought, talking about disaster, talking also about the role of women leadership in water management and food security, and how the media could play a role in improving water conservation. So, different sessions there. The ministries of water sources, food security, climate change, all ministries are on board. And then the second session is on basically on exhibition and national conference and exhibition, which will be on 8th and 9th, and that will be showing some certain instrumentation, certain climate resilient basic technology, and how the technology could help in the urban water sector, in agriculture sector, and how we could introduce the water conservation technologies.
Brilliant, brilliant. And best of luck for that, of course, to you, your entire team. We're really looking forward to whatever the solutions you guys will bring, because like you said, research was a majorly missing part in Pakistan in terms of many sustainable developmental projects, and you are bringing the right kind of research over here. So on the base of that, we do sort of hope to bring the best results out of it as well.
Having the principal researcher over here on the show with us, ladies and gentlemen, obviously I think that we feel amazing, because we kind of got to get our hands onto the first-hand knowledge, which actually was procured by them as well. So, sir, thank you very much for raising awareness. I know it's very important. Next time, ladies and gentlemen, I think what we can do is that we can actually ask our mummies to kind of not do the pocha-fai thing every day with a bucket full of water and washing the parking area and giving water to the plants every single day. We really need to practice it. If we will practice it together, obviously we will be making sure that our future generations will have enough water to survive. Thank you very much, Dr. Saab, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you. Thank you very much once again. And for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, God forbid, if such a problem occurs in your life, your heart aches, and you're like, okay, what's going wrong? And you really need to be so healthy and you want to feel great as well. But I still remember this practice in England. Whenever I'm there, if God forbid the government kind of sends a notice to everybody's place, and what they tell you is that you're not allowed to wash your car or water your plants as well for the next 2 or 3 days. Yes, and the police comes up, and if the neighbor kind of complains about you, they give you a fine of 200 to 300 pounds. You certainly don't want. But obviously, I think it's going to take time, but we're already in that direction. The technological interventions brought in by the PTA government will actually help us kind of reach to our goals as well.
Definitely. With this, of course, we're heading out to a short break. When we come back, we are going to discuss Shahzad's heartache. Don't you worry, guys. Stay tuned. Good morning.
It's not.